All right, Matthew Aaron here from the Matthew Aaron Show. Once again at the Donald Stevens Convention Center, Wizard World presents Comic-Con, www.thematthewaaronshow.com, and I am here with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. How are you, sir?
I'm rich.
You know what I think's sad? I think I got my laugh from Ted. He's heard me laugh. I laugh like you. And I don't. Is that your real laugh, or is that the $1 Million Man laugh?
Well, it's a little bit of my real laugh, but it's exaggerated.
All right. Now, I want to know about what we got here. Everybody's got a price. And we have Ted's book, Ted DiBiase. Talk to us about these products here.
Everybody's Got a Price is actually my personal testimony as to my faith in God. I'm a minister now, so I travel all over the United States and Canada, speaking in churches now. I'm like, I guess you'd call me an evangelist, but I don't wear a white suit because never trust a guy in a white suit, and I'm not asking everybody for all their money because I don't need it, okay? This book is about it's my story, but it's more about my wrestling story. It's about my trip through the wrestling world and how I grew up in it. And a lot of the wrestling fans that have come back to me and written email messages to me, they said what they really liked was that, number one, I didn't spend half the time knocking everybody else, which a lot of guys took the opportunity to write a book and do. The other thing they liked was that the guy that helped me, like the ghostwriter, the guy that helped me with the book, took the time to interview a lot of my contemporaries and my family members, and so he got quotes from all these people, and I knew what I said, right? But he put the quotes in the book, and so when I actually read the finished product the first time, I mean, I was even surprised by some of it.
What do you feel was your favorite match, Ted, when you were in the WWF at the time? I know you've had more in the NWA and the AWA, but WWF, what was your favorite match?
We wrestle so many times. It's hard to pick a single match and say that was it. But there were defining moments in my career. And in the WWF, or WWE as it's now known, I guess the first one of those defining moments would be Saturday Night Main Event, the rematch of Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant from WrestleMania 3. But the story was that I had purchased the Andre the Giant services, and he was going to beat Hogan, and I was, by proxy, going to buy the belt. And of course, the twin referees was the greatest angle of all time. I'm sorry, but to be a part of that, even though I didn't wrestle that night, the story was about me, and that was the catalyst for WrestleMania 4.
Right, with the tournament, right.
And then the tournament, I tell these guys all the time, I said, yeah, you wrestle at WrestleMania, great. How many of you guys can say that you wrestled 3 matches in one WrestleMania?
Yeah.
And so the culmination of that and the main event with Randy Savage at WrestleMania 4 obviously was a highlight. And then my favorite WrestleMania, though, had to be WrestleMania 6. I had a really, really good match with Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
And he's one of the guys that I love to work with because Jake made my job easy. They say, well, who's your toughest opponent? Well, when you're talking about a sports, entertainment,
yeah.
It's like a hard match is working with somebody that you have to lead around by the nose.
Yeah.
And with Jake, it was just like doing the dance.
Jake was the best. My favorite with you was your feud with Dusty Rhodes and Sweet Sapphire. And that's when I was really into wrestling. And for me, that was the time where I'm like, Ted DiBiase, everybody's got a price.
Well, Dusty Rhodes, the American dream. Twist the feel and fix the bill. Funky like a monkey. I go flip, flop, and fly. Hey, you know what? I had a blast wrestling Dusty. Dusty's one of those guys. It's like people look at Dusty, and they go, here's a guy who had no great big body, no great big muscles, but all the charisma that anybody could possibly want. And that was his thing. And people loved him. And, we had a great time. I had a great time with that, too.
Now, let me ask you this. Was Dusty Rhodes Ensemble, was that a Vince McMahon choice or a Dusty choice? The polka dots.
I guarantee you it was not Dusty's idea.
I had a small feeling about that one. Not much small about Dusty, but that one I had a small feeling about. And then I guess my final question for you, Ted, is what does the future hold? I know you were managing when you were in WCW. I know in WWE you were an agent for a while. What does the future hold for you?
Well, you know, I have what they call a nostalgia contract with the WWE, so it's like a Legends deal. In other words, I'm not like 24/7 working for them. They have the right now. They can call me, and they do call me from time to time to either come back and make a cameo appearance on the show, or go and and represent them in a public venue at some kind of event, on occasion. And it's kind of one of those deals like. There's several of us that are under contract like that, where maybe one guy can't do it right now, but somebody else is available to do it. And so that's my, I have a very good working relationship with them, especially with my son, on the roster. I'm gonna, go back and contribute any way that I can. And and it's, the more that I do that, whether it's whether it's on the TV show or it's representing the company, all of that gets publicity for me, and it keeps the $1 Million Man's name out there. So.
And Ted Jr., you taught him everything he knows, right?
I wish I could say that I did. Most of his life I told him, "You'll be anything but a wrestler." But he got a degree in college, and then he told me, he said, "Dad," he said, "you're my hero. I've always wanted to be like you." He said, "This is what I want to do." And I said, "Well, it's not really what I wanted you to do, not because I don't love wrestling, but because all that came along with it." But the good news is that the WWE today is a much better company. I mean, you can talk about football, any sport. They grow, and their wellness program and all the things, all of the accountability that's been built into the company now to help guys stay off of drugs and booze and all that stuff, and the steroids, 4-day work week. We were gone all the time, so there's a lot of things much better about it, including the money.
Very, very good. And you know what? Not to end on a serious note, but hey, hearing from your own son that you're his hero, that's the coolest thing ever, huh?
Yeah, that is priceless.
Thank you very much, Ted. You're the classiest guy. Thank you.